the best thing out there. EVs are yeah, I'm into EVs. I'm into EVs, and yeah, I'll keep this for as long as something else doesn't come out to bite me.
I get you. So my biggest question that I wanted to start with, right? So as I was doing the research around EVs and iX1 in specific, right? So apparently there's over like 40 units you can choose from brands like Mini, BMW, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, Jaguar, and other brands, right? So why in specific the iX1?
I could answer that in 10 different ways, but I think let me just say that I had an X3,
Okay.
which I bought in 2021. In all the cars I've ever driven, I enjoyed that the best.
In what regard would you say that is?
I recall the original, or one of the early BMW adverts with the mouse on the steering wheel. It's sheer driving pleasure. I found that out much in my later years. My first BMW, yeah. I just came out of a different brand, SUV, and I thought, my wife actually drove me to drive it or to buy it, and then I absolutely loved it. Sheer driving pleasure, a good ride height, absolute smooth drive. Look, I had it for 2 years, and then I do tend to get itchy about my cars, and I wanted to get another brand. I won't mention the brand, but after being put onto a waiting list, it turned out to be a bit disappointing. And BMW just launched the iX1 at the time fortuitously, and then I thought, why don't I just stick with BMW?
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another, and I bought my iX1.
And then how much research did you put into it before you made that purchase?
To be frank, not much. Not much. I didn't want to pick any of the other German brands. I've had experience with one of them prior. Owned 3 of them actually.
Oh,
lost
from
money.
The same brand.
That brand, yeah. Lost money, and vowed never to go back. So for me, BMW proved over the 2 years that I drove the X3 that they know how to make cars. So it was the iX1. The iX3 was around, but it was just aesthetically it didn't look. It wasn't as pleasing as the iX1. So, and of course the frozen grey metallic was unique. The black and white
interior
was, I fell in love the moment I saw it.
What would you say is the best feature of your iX1 that you haven't experienced with your internal combustion cars that you owned before?
Again, I think that has changed over the 15 or 16 months I've owned it. In the beginning, the novelty of not having a combustion engine car, the sheer silence of it, and the fact that I was an early adopter and I saw very few on the road, pleased me. And then over time, I quite enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to go to the service station that often.
Okay, that's actually one of the questions I wanted to touch on today as well.
Yeah, and now I love it absolutely because it's the best thing out there. EVs are I'm into EVs. I'm into EVs, and yeah, I'll keep this for as long as something else doesn't come out to bite me.
I get you. And then, how would you say the driving dynamics vary between the two?
Starters, the power that's on tap. There's no lag. There's nothing. Of course, the iX1 comes with a boost button. Not that I use it often, but just to be able to, you can fly past cars on the freeway or any other road for that matter, and suddenly realize you're breaking the law. I absolutely like the fact that,
performance is definitely there, right?
Performance is there.
For myself, I would say the biggest thing that stood out to me the first time I drove an EV, the comfort of it was just something else. So I'm not so much into comfort in cars, right? So I value other things over that, but that just stood out to me. That it's like it felt like you're floating on a cloud.
Well, I guess I could Yeah, accept that because
Yeah.
look, and it's super comfortable. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
It is.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Okay. So obviously with EVs, right, they're very novel to our country, right? There's obviously challenges that you have encountered owning an EV. With this.
Look, I mean, you did ask the question about how much research did I do, and I answered not much. But one of the things I looked into was range. A big thing with EVs, especially in South Africa, is that there's anxiety over distances that you travel, or range anxiety, as you guys call the phrase. So, if that was the only car that I was going to own, I might not have bought it. Until we developed as a nation. But I wanted to be one of the early adopters of an EV. I absolutely love the looks of the iX1 in and out. And I had a second car in the garage. So for me, there was no anxiety about range. And I don't travel long distances often. But if I did, I would jump in another car. But I'm not suggesting that you can't go with the iX1.
Yeah.
There's just too many rules. And
what's the furthest you've ever traveled on the iX1?
On the iX1, I went to Sun City.
And back.
And back.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't have to charge it in between.
Oh, you didn't even have to charge it?
No, I'm about 150 k's away.
Oh, okay.
From
so
home
like
to Sun City.
300.
300.
Yeah.
And I know when you drive on an open road, you can get closer to 400. But on daily driving, I'll be lucky to get 360.
Yeah. So the number on paper, right, according to the WLTP testing cycles, like 417 to 440. But that is like in ideal conditions, because obviously
and probably in Germany.
Yeah, of course. Of course, there's other stuff with electric cars that do contribute to your consumption as well, right? So things like your altitude actually does play. Weather also does play a factor. Using media and other things that do consume battery, they also do limit you in terms of the maximum kilometers.
Okay. Then let me just say to encapsulate the question that you asked me. Range was never an issue for me. It's never been an issue. I like the car so much that they said you do 200 k's on a full charge. I still would have bought it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting that is not a concern that others might need
of course,
to look into.
Of course, yeah. So I think, as you said, it is one of the biggest concerns of people that are considering EVs and not considering EVs as well. Yeah. So talking about charging as well, I think that's also an interesting topic to go into. So when you bought your car, it comes with the wall box unit that they installed at your house, right? So how long does that take, like, charging the car?
I found that it would charge 10% per hour.
Okay.
So I mean, you wouldn't get down to zero. So, but if you were down at zero, that's a 10-hour charge to full charge.
Yeah. Okay. So how does that look like every day? Like, do you charge every day? Like, how do you navigate charging the car, driving it?
You know, again, with flexible work practices, I would probably venture out of my home, so work from home, and probably put on 200 k's a week.
Oh, 200. Okay.
So, and I get into the habit of charging it 90% at least on the weekend.
Yeah.
So then I could drive the week
without having to work.
Without having to go and then just charge it in the weekend again.
Okay.
So it isn't an issue in my life.
Yeah. And then what do you rely on mostly? Is it just the charger at home, or do you rely on public charging stations as well?
No, I do a combination of charging at the local BMW and charging from home.
Okay. So I pulled up his stats from a couple of months ago, from April, right? So at the time, they said there were over 350 public charging facilities around the country. So I think in 18 months, as you said, close to like owning a car, right? What's your experience with the availability of points? Because as you own an EV, right, I think you become conscious with, there's an EV now charging station and it's Clearwater Mall, for instance, and everything. So have you seen
I haven't gone looking for them. I have seen them, Clearwater Mall, being one of them. But I've Googled them. Grid Cars have got a vast network. I think their website advertised maybe 400 countrywide, mostly on national roads or close to national roads.
Yeah.
And there's going to be another 400 coming in the next 18 months or something like that. But for me, it's not important, because if there's one thing that BMW's website themselves say, is that if I were planning a trip, I could plot charge stations on my route.
On your route.
But what it doesn't tell me is that who will be there charging before me, how many ports there'd be to charge, and yeah, so that's the other unknown that contributes to anxiety. So I could plot here to be my charge point halfway through my journey, and there's a car already charging. There's one port, and there's two cars behind that car, and I literally can't go look for another charge station if I cut it too fine. Yeah, so I'm not paying too much attention right now to the network. I know there is. I know it's going to grow. I know there's also going to be an off-grid tranche of charge stations coming. But I think in South Africa that's an evolution.
It is.
That will take time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that is fair. So I think also with the unpredictable national power grid, right, that we have. So I'm not sure what power supply you rely on at home. So do you experience any problems with like load shedding and stuff like that?
Well, you're talking about load shedding now, and Eskom's kind of 150 days plus.
Yeah.
But yes, you don't bet on that lasting, forever.
Yeah.
So I've got panels. I'm reliant now on solar. We didn't have much sun in the last 2 days, and quite frankly, this morning didn't start off too great either.
Yeah, it was different.
But I'm grateful. So I've got panels. I've got 2 batteries. I've got an inverter.
Okay.
I wouldn't necessarily want to rely on that totally.
Okay.
But if I needed 20% of charge,
and it is,
and Eskom was not helping,
then
I've got an alternative solution.
Okay. And then, like, costs of charging the car. Do you have an estimate, like, as to how much that costs?
I have to admit, I didn't quantify that.
Yeah.
I have not quantified that. Let me just say that when I install alternative energy solutions for my home, even with having the odd charge, say once a week charge at home, my electricity bill has dropped some 40-50%. Maybe I need to pay more attention to the consumption to bring it down even further.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic though. Which cost for a full charge, basically like around 200 rand. But then obviously depends on the size of battery that the car has. Yeah. And I think in certain cars with fast chargers, you could get it to 100% in like 25 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it beats the paper going to a service station. I don't think for 200 rand you'd get much.
No. Definitely not. But you are getting a longer range though in petrol cars and diesel cars.
I guess there is a
pros and cons to each. Yeah. So another question that I had was like, it's not really related to the car, but I think more to you as a person, right? So EVs at the time, especially at the time that you bought yours, it was change. It was novel, right? So how have you navigated like change in your life? Have you been the person how do you adapt? So the question would be, how have you adapted to change over the years?
It didn't bring much change in my lifestyle. I'm trying to think what an appropriate answer would be. I actually quite enjoyed the attention I was getting, to be frank.
Okay.
But a day in my life would be work from home, visit customer or two, back, do some research on the customers that I've been, work from home again.
Yeah. just that.
Just that, whether I was driving diesel, petrol, or EV,
Doesn't really
I don't think it, in my life, no difference.
no different. Okay.
Except how I feel about driving EV. That's you know, you visit your customer and you land there with a whole lot more confidence and chutzpah than you would have.
Okay. Okay. No, I do get that. So another question that I had for you, right, is like the service intervals on the car. So since there's a lot less parts, like engine parts, to service,
no oil change,
and those sort of things, like, what's your experience with the service department?
Well, funny you should ask that, because in the last 10 days, the other car that I've got was due for its annual service.
Okay.
Again, don't do enough mileage in a year
Yeah.
to do the 15,000, so it went in for its annual service. Once that service got done, it made me think, hang on a second, I've got the EV for 18 months longer than I've got
that car, yeah.
And then I remember calling up the sales guy, and he sent me a video of how I could do it in the car.
Okay.
And it's talking May 2025.
May 2025.
I bought it in May 2023.
Okay.
In May 2025, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But I must admit that having serviced the other car, I was almost like, did I miss my first service?
Yeah.
What would that do to my warranty?
Yeah.
And I was really a little freaked out. I just called somebody and told me how to have a look at it, and then May 2025.
Oh, good.
Good in that.
Okay. So it's very convenient in that regard, you'd say that.
Yeah, that's just another advantage to having an EV.
Yeah.
Less moving parts, or no moving parts.
Moving parts.
Less moving parts,
yeah. So the other thing as well, so like there is still other costs that contribute to your total cost of ownership, right, in the car. So the things like your tires, I think. So have you had to replace tires yet?
No,
not yet.
No, touch wood.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, they're still looking good, and your app actually tells you pressure, and it tells you that, I don't know if it tells you the thread, but it says it's still okay.
It's still okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very convenient as well. So,
but it's relative to the mileage you get. And
what is your mileage? Do you know?
8,200.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I had a look at it before I came.
Yeah. Okay, so that explains.
And that's what, nearly 18 months.
Nearly 18 months. Okay. Would you say it is complicated charging an EV?
Well, now, nearly 18 months into ownership, absolutely not. But I can tell you that in my first month, I was a little freaked out because the wall charge only got installed 6 weeks after purchase. The external company only, got there 6 weeks later. And the one time, because it was new to me, I'd forgotten. I had to travel to Pretoria to see a customer. I didn't think about the charge. And I got to the client and then suddenly realized that I wouldn't be able to make it back until I charged it. So I quickly Googled the closest BMW dealership, because that's my go-to. And I get to this dealership. Maybe I should say that. But anyway.
And they
didn't have a DC charge station.
Oh, only the AC.
October, June, July.
Yeah.
July last year.
Okay.
And then thankfully there's other gizmos in the car itself with a 3-pin flag, and I think I can tell you that's the slowest charge you're likely to get. But of course I got to sit in the dealership and just look at all the cars. But it's there for quite a while.
Okay. But I think that's part of one of the things that you've had to adapt to, right? It's like planning ahead.
Yes, absolutely. You can't just jump in. Petrol light comes on. Oh, I'm going to stop at the service station. And I know where the service stations are. No battery light comes on yet.
Yeah. So when we speak to our customers, when they buy EVs, right, I always advise them that it's all about planning, right? Most things that you can do with an ICE, as we call them, are possible than EV, but you just need to plan accordingly. So as you said, like if you wanted to go to Cape Town, it is possible, but you just need to make sure that there is charging points for you on the routes that you choose to take.
Absolutely. Well, which is why that didn't freak me out, because of the fact that I had a second vehicle.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm in a more fortunate position.
Of course.
But yeah, like I said, I probably wouldn't have bought an EV.
Had you not had another vehicle. Okay. So you did say that you intend on being in the iX1 for as long as possible, but we've had a lot of models that came out like from last year. We've actually launched a lot of models. Now that I think of it, we've launched the i5, we've launched the 5 Series, the 570D, we've launched so the new X3 is also coming out. So they're gonna have a hybrid of that as well. So do you think you'd be tempted?
Yeah, absolutely. It's in my nature to want change all the time. I love the X3, but I sold it. I love the iX1. I still sell it.
Yeah.
I've test drove the 520D. I've had the X5 for an extended test drive. Those cars are not for me, so I won't be buying either of them. I know the new X3 is coming out, and if I miss anything in my EV now, it's the ride height. The iX1 is sedan-like.
Yeah.
And the X3 gave you that feeling of power, and I missed that one part.
Yeah.
And then I've been, reading the press and the X50D.
Yeah, the M50.
So if I bought another car this year, if it is launched in South Africa this year, because again, with South Africa, not getting it upfront or like most other markets, but assuming it dropped this year and I had to sell the iX1, I'd buy the the X50. It's not
so the X3 M50.
M50. So
the official launch is during the M-Fest, which is from the 25th to 27th of October. And then availability of cars, we should start seeing them on the road in November.
Okay, I'm not saying that I will.
Yes,
but that would probably tempt me.
Yeah, but it is a looker, though, I have to say. It does look.
It's an acquired taste as well. I think. I like the interior. I like what they've done with the split bumper in the front.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they've put in 2 double pipes. It's aesthetics.
Yeah.
So I certainly, maybe with your help, have a very close look at the M50.
Yeah. I was also checking. I was checking prices as well, right? Like comparing it to the current models. So it's not too far off. So I had another client that's looking at the 20D, right? So that was priced on the configurator. It was like 1,233. Comparing it to the same spec roundabouts in the current Geo ones, that is like 150 a square.
Okay.
Yeah, so not too different in that regard.
Okay. Of course, with these EVs, there's a smaller aftermarket thing. It would be with an IC.
That is. At the time you bought the car, I think when they first came out, they were around 111, right?
This one was more expensive because of
the extras.
The extras
put it on it. Yeah.
So this was 1.3.
1.3. Okay.
Yeah, it was 1.302 exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm fully open to the fact that if I'm not able to resell it for a fair value in my mind, then I will keep it.
Okay. So do you know how much it's worth, like as we stand right now?
I have no idea. I mean, is there a book like Meads and McGrather?
Not anymore. There used to be the book price.
Right. Now it's online or whatever the case is, and I don't know whether EVs are even on there.
I'm not even sure if
no.
been factored in.
There isn't enough market data or market ownership of EVs to be able to put together a number that's realistic. Whereas with internal combustion engines, it's been around for since for decades.
Yeah. Okay, no, I appreciate that. So then I have a challenge for you. Right. So what do you think is the quickest time that it would take you to from the driver's seat, right, from where the car is at right now, from the driver's seat, get out, and charge? Do you think that would be around like how many seconds? Do you think?
Well, I just did it now, but I didn't think of timing myself. So yeah, I got up at leisure out of the car, open the flaps, pull out the cable, put it into the port, take out your credit card, your charge card, tap it, press. 30 seconds.
30.
Just
30 seconds.
it's a guess. Yeah.
It's a guess. Okay. So let's make it 25 seconds for the sake of interest, right?
Okay.
So that's a challenge. So do you think you can do it in 25 seconds?
Well, now that you presented a challenge, I mean, it's charging now, so I'm not gonna undo the charge.
Oh yeah.
Unless you want me to just to.
No. At another day.
But I'm so conscious of that now that the next time.
Yeah.
I'll carry my stopwatch off.
Yeah. Please do. Tell me how that goes. Yeah, because I had someone say, it literally taking like 10 seconds.
10?
Like,
really?
Okay.
No. Well, if you knew you were in such a challenge, get up a lot quicker.
Try to, yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I'm gonna come in with my boost button.
Yeah. Okay, no, thanks a lot, Mr. Diz.
Absolute pleasure, man.
I just need to get a few shots like off the car outside, if you don't mind. But I'll obviously close the registration, because I don't think
No.